Oftentimes, when people see jealousy entering any type of relationship dynamic, there's an immediate character assassination, if you will, of a person being immature, that they're insecure or possessive. These negative descriptors that we put on people make it so that the emotion called jealousy doesn't get to have its full cycle within your system, because immediately when you tell someone that you're jealous, the first response is typically, oh, don't be jealous, instead of what's causing the jealousy. Jealousy in and of itself is not a failing. The way that I like to think about jealousy is that it is a safety detector. It tells you that something feels off within the relationship. It needs your investigation to figure out what's causing the jealousy. Here's the thing, jealousy appears in all relationship types, to include when you first start dating someone, as well as long term relationships. Jealousy has no rules. It is a signal within you that is asking you to come close and take another look. So let's take a deeper dive on jealousy. If this kind of conversation is helpful to you, go ahead and subscribe to this channel and turn on your notifications. I post weekly videos about relationships, intimacy, and navigating non-traditional dynamics with depth and nuance, something that you might not see often in social media. The first thing that you should know about jealousy is that it can very well be rooted in fear. You could have attachment fears, you could have replacement fears, comparison fears, even your sense of safety. And the messaging around this, if it's an attachment fear, is will I lose you? If it's a comparison fear, am I enough for you? If it's a replacement fear, the question is, am I being swapped out? As you can tell, the messaging around jealousy is wondering where I fit with you. Jealousy isn't about controlling or being demanding. It is about asking you and your partner to lean into the vulnerability that jealousy is signaling to you. Once we start to learn that jealousy is actually there to help us, we can start taking in the data that it's trying to give to us. What is your jealousy trying to tell you? Well, you have to ask yourself a series of questions. And the first place to start is what caused it? There could be something as simple as a nonverbal expression to something you read, something that you noticed within your partner that rattled this emotion. And then you take it a step further and ask yourself, is there fear underneath this jealousy? And if so, what is the fear trying to tell me? And from there, we're very good at narrating a story that exasperates the fear. And sometimes we are very good at narrating the emotions that is coming before. So you have to ask yourself, what is the story I'm telling myself because I have jealousy? And finally, what is the need that would help to soothe this fear and the jealousy? When you can start walking yourself through these questions, you start to learn a particular pattern about yourself. You start learning what is being triggered. A shift in mindset is not using jealousy as a way to accuse your partner, rather to bridge the gap between you and your partner on how to feel more connected and secure in the relationship. If you decided not to take in these reflection questions and didn't process your jealousy, you will naturally blame, you will attempt to control your partner's behavior, and you would probably altogether shut down. However, when you actually process the jealousy by going through these reflection questions, you are injecting more boundaries, respect, and reassurance in the relationship. So you have just asked yourself the reflection question, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the emotions, the intensity of that jealousy is completely gone. So how do you start dealing with the emotional crisis called jealousy in the moment? The first thing is learning how to regulate it. By regulation, meaning you take deep breaths. You take a moment for yourself, whether it be for a walk, whether it's journaling. It gives you enough time to dial down the intensity of the emotion so that you're not reactive. And what I mean by reactive, you're not going straight into trying to surveillance your partner, that you're not creating ultimatums or making big relationship decisions because of this emotion. Now you have turned down the dial of your jealousy, and now it's time to recruit your partner into this discussion with your jealousy. A regulated jealousy and a well processed jealousy will now turn into a conversation about requests, but an unprocessed and unregulated jealousy will only, and dare I say, always turn into a demand. This is about being really mindful of what it is that your emotions is needing versus trying to get rid of the feeling and going into control. When you notice that you are going into that jealousy place, name it, say it out loud. Now we think about in the long haul of how to actually take care of this relationship in a meaningful way where jealousy can be readily talked about without fear of it going sideways. One of the ways is establishing a check in weekly, bi weekly, but something predictable so that both of you can actually talk about it. And as a couple, it would be incredible for both of you to actually map out the jealousy pattern. What triggers it? How does it feel in your body? The thoughts that you're having, what you need in order for you to feel a soothing of that jealousy. To have that readily available, both of you know how to then go into this experience called jealousy without it being a fault or a blame or accusation. And finally, whenever you experience that spike of jealousy and you went through this whole ordeal of naming it and reflecting on it and processing it and talking about it, it's so important that both of you work towards doing something that's enjoyable and just re-secure the bond. So when you are done, maybe even let yourself enjoy an activity together, have a date. All these little moments of connection can just put a nice little bow on a very tough emotion that is jealousy. If you want to go deeper, head on over to my website at intimacyinprogress.com, where you will find therapy services and relationship tools. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out on future conversations like this.